going on, everyone? It's Dungeon here, and today I'm coming back with another episode of the Dark Souls 3 Choose Your Own Adventure walkthrough. And in the last episode, we took down the old Demon King from Smoldering Lake. And in this one, I had mentioned to you guys that we were going to go into the Irithyll Dungeons. And what is different is that I actually have something special for you guys today. This is my SL1 run, and I've actually already gone through the Irithyll Dungeon and more with the SL1 run. So what I'm going to do is show you the clip that I recorded. Actually, it's two clips, and I'm going to give you some commentary behind it with regard to some, reasonings for what I did and all different type of stuff. So we'll go ahead and review the clip together. All right. So, that being said, let's get right on into it. Alright, you guys, so we're going to go ahead and start from the Distant Manor site of grace, or not site of grace, but the Distant Manor bonfire and Elden Ring, yo. Anyhow, and the thing about the SL run that I have to mention is that, not only is it just difficult, but it trains you to be much more careful and much more thoughtful about everything that you do. Like, for instance, the way that I usually go through level. I know a lot of people like to run through levels and stuff like that, but that's not what I do. I like to try to go through and basically get everything that I can, kill most enemies and stuff like that. And I think it's pretty different than what a lot of people do. But that's just how I roll. I mean, for instance, going back to, I just made a mention about Elden Ring, but when I went through Elden Ring, I actually, I got the Platinum trophy, but it wasn't because I went through the first playthrough, NG, and got everything so that I wouldn't have to get anything in NG Plus and NG Plus Plus. That's not the case, actually. I actually went through the game like 7 times, all the way through. I mean, all the way through. I got every single thing. And it wasn't just the platinum trophy that I got, but I actually went through and got every single ending that was possible in that game. Which, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Elden Ring, that's 200 hours plus each time. So I put a lot of time into that game. It was just a really fun game. And as far as this game goes, holy smokes, man, I put so much time into this game. It's unbelievable. I actually didn't even realize how many playthroughs that I've done in this game until, like I said in one of the previous episodes, my PlayStation went out. And I actually had already saved multiple files from a different PlayStation, from this PlayStation, and I've saved a couple of files on my PC. So I think I have about 20 characters on my PC saved, and I had, I want to say it was like 7 on my other PlayStation. Plus, now, since I've transferred those, I have 10. So I have a total of like 30 playthroughs, not to mention some that I've, deleted and stuff like that. So I definitely played this game out. Now, basically, what I'm trying to do is be careful, because this dude will wreck you, man. You know what I'm saying? And what's cool is that my main weapon for the SL run is Fire Broadsword. And I actually, right before I was doing this, I was, believe it or not, I was farming. I know some of you guys are like, what would you farm for in an SL1 run? Money, actually, because I like to buy things like bolts. I don't know about at this point, but by the end of these videos, I actually have like a full amount of bolts and actually almost a full amount of arrows. And I mean all different types, not just wood, not just standard. I'm talking lightning, I'm talking like everything, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't have any levels. So you have to spend money, well, souls, in creative ways. Like, I have learned to spend money or spend souls in such different ways in this game. Now, what you see me doing right now is just waiting for Elvia. I think that's the NPC's name to spawn. But I actually didn't realize that when I was farming in Lothric Castle, the Lothric Castle bonfire, and I happened to accidentally die because the weapon didn't stun lock the enemy. So anyhow, I forgot to do the the ember. But I realized this, and I said, all right, fine. Let me go ahead and get the bonfire before the NPC actually spawns, and then I'll go back and ember, and this way, in the in the event that I would die, that I would be able to go back to the bonfire without having to go through the manor again. So there you go, and now my ember is restored. And by the way, if you're looking for embers, the Lothric Knights, they drop embers. So whether the Lothric Knights in the High Wall or in Lothric Castle, other enemies drop them too, but, you know, whatever. So I quickly noticed that the crossbow really isn't doing enough damage, so I switched that out. And the next strategy I try to go for is knocking this guy off. However, I do have a plus 10 fire broadsword, so it is definitely doing some work. Now the reason why I have a plus 10, for those of you who don't know, even though according to the normal game, the earliest Titanite slab you can get is actually in the Profane Capital if you've progressed Sigward's quest line. But what I've done is actually I went into the DLC and I basically just ran for the rope bridge, that bonfire right next to the rope bridge bonfire in the painted world, and then ran across the rope bridge, cut it down, went down to the depths of the painting, and then back up the ladder to get the Titanite slab. You saw that in I think 2 episodes ago. But you know, I didn't with my SL1 run, I actually learned from when I was doing that Pyromancer run that you guys saw, and when I got to the bottom of that route, I just dropped down without any problems, and I didn't have any problems when I was doing it. But you know, you learn. The first time I grabbed that, for those who don't know, the first time I grabbed that, my very first playthrough, it definitely jump scared me, for sure, for sure. And here's a tip for those people who don't know. Those jailers that you saw walking in the background over there, we're about to go and kill them. I don't know if it's he or she. I think that's locked, but they have this this smoldering iron. These dudes, if you let them do anything, they will just immediately, for my character, they would immediately kill me because they remove health. And if you grab that dude hits you. So you don't you want to kill them first. And if you open any of these, then they'll stay open. So that's why I leave it open in case I ever have to come back here. And with these guys, like I said, you don't want them to get any kind of attack off. If they attack, that's it. You're done for. If they do the iron attack, you might be able to dodge it. But if you get hit by it, especially at this type of hit point, oh my, you're dead. You're dead. That smoldering iron will actually stun lock you, and it'll hit you, I think, like 2 or 3, I think 3 times or something like that, and you're a goner. The thing is it's a really slow wind up. So if you've got like a straight sword or something like that, you should be good, or a curved sword, or a falchion, something that'll stun lock them. And they're wearing pretty light armor, so. And once we get the jailer, I think it's the jailer key, then we can jailbreak key, we can open that up. And there's the bellowing dragon crest ring. It's basically the upgrade to the young dragon ring. I think it gives you a 20% boost of sorceries, which is good. Which, by the way, for those who are looking at getting some sorcery on, especially those of you who are new to the game, if anyone's new watching this game, this gameplay, I am very soon going to be releasing another video It is it's a Dark Souls 3 sorcery, early game sorcery guide. So, and I've got lots of tips for you guys who want to play sorcerers. That guy will jump out. If you go for that drop right there, he'll jump out and grab you. So you want to attack him before that. And there's um, another enemy at the, actually a couple enemies, guys. Which it's a really problem if you don't kill them right now, because they'll wake up and then they'll start chasing you, and then basically it's meant to be a trap. So those guys will come out and then they'll start walking to you this way, and then what happens is a lot of times people don't realize, they'll be like, oh, I'll open this thing up because I can't attack them. But the problem is that once you open that up, that dude will aggro on you, and then you'll have the like hollows coming after you from behind, and it's a bad situation. But you can see, you can attack it through the grate, especially if you have a whip. Typically, I always keep a whip on me, and actually, I come to the realization in this video clip that I actually don't have a whip. I didn't realize I usually always have at least the notched whip, because that does bleed damage. So, but I don't. And even if you can't use it, like if your stats aren't high enough to technically use it, you can still use it, and the bleed effect will still actually take toll. The thing that won't affect is the regular damage. It'll just do way reduced. And basically what I was trying to think about doing is, because I knew there was an enemy over there, I was seeing like maybe I can aggro them or get them out of the cell or something like that. But nah, there's nothing I can do right there. So basically I scrapped that idea and go around, because like I know what's coming. There's like it's a ambush, you know what I'm saying? So if there's any kind of way, like I know where these ambushes are, so if there's any kind of way you can do something to avoid it, and especially with that jailer down there, if she looks at you, she, I don't know, if they look at you, you're dead. Like, they have this mist that they spew out that will reduce your maximum hit points. So that you're done for. Basically, I'm like, all right, well, let me open up the shortcut, which isn't a big shortcut, but it's a shortcut nonetheless. And before I forget, I think I go back and grab the jailbreak key. Actually, positive that's what I do. Am I right? Thinking about something, I don't know. Well, that does happen from time to time. Sometimes I consider my options and whatnot, but which is something you really have to. It's something I learned actually, because the first hour of play, I died actually in the high wall because I wasn't being careful. And once that happens, once you die at an SL1 run, you start to really think about like your game style and how careless you really are being, you know, which is actually good. It leads to better gameplay, you know what I'm saying? You get better because there's so many times that you've probably seen in this walkthrough that I've just been a little bit on the careless side, because you know, death is not like a big deal, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, like I can go through it and die in an area, and it's not a problem. I go back to the area, grab my souls. Like I almost never lose souls anymore, you know. Um, but for someone who's new and either they don't know level or they don't know like the they don't have a good feel in the game. They're not quote unquote good yet. um, it can be extremely frustrating, especially this place right here, because those jailers, like, if you're aggressive and you were to jump down there, there's 3 jailers down there. You would not make it out alive. Certainly not an SL1. You know what I'm saying? It's it. So basically, in order to avoid that, I take down this one here first, and headshots obviously they do more damage. Yo. Now there's one right below me right here, but I can kill him or her or whatever pretty easily. What is more difficult is this one over here, because as soon as you attack the one below, this one will aggro. And then what's worse is there's another enemy in one of the jail cells nearby. So if you and I also have, I'm pretty sure I have the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring too, which is so helpful. Like, you probably see me run with it most of the time, because if you're silent, then you know you can get basically sneak attacks on everyone, which definitely makes it so much easier. Also, something that makes it easier is a big weapon, like a two-handed club. Those, I'm not gonna lie, man. Going through a level with a heavy weapon like that, yeah, basically you one-shot just about every enemy. Makes it so much easier. Um, but against bosses, though, on the other hand, typically you'll want something a little bit faster. So, um, now I have been running with the red and white shield, and that's because of the regen that it. Notice that it's not very much. I think it's like, I don't know, two points per, I don't know, 3 seconds or something like that. I don't know, whatever it is. It's not a lot, but I mean, I don't have very much hit points anyways, so that's something I hate. If you're close to a wall and you try to shoot an arrow or crossbow, it'll hit a wall because your player model actually is like in the wall partially when you're next to him. And this guy can actually shoot spells at you. Don't be careful. But those are not for decoration there at the end by the doorway. Those are enemies. So they're pretty they're pretty susceptible to strike damage. So have like a strike weapon. Also fire. They're really susceptible to fire too. And I think other elements, but I'm sorry, not strike, but thrust. But yeah, so keep in mind. And if you get too close, they auto hit you. So now, of course, that crystal lizard is a trap, and there's a couple ways to go about it to not get hit. But of course, I get hit. And this is where I noticed that I don't have the whip, because I want to kill that dude over there, but I don't want to open the cell. So that's the conundrum, you know. I guess you just can't kill it, you know what I'm saying? And the broadsword doesn't have enough reach, and of course, like I said, I don't have the whip. If you do have a whip, you could easily kill him, especially the notched whip. You just hit him a few times, cause some bleeds damage, and it'll die. And if there's any drop, then you can open it up and grab it if you want to, but it is what it is. Oh. But what's interesting is that whips will actually, they will always attack through walls. And for those of you who are like, dude, that's super cheap, bro, attacking through walls, like, wait, the enemy does it. The enemy is not going to be like, oh, that's too cheap. You know, certainly the game developers didn't think it was too cheap, because they allow enemies to attack through walls. Every single FromSoft game. I don't know how many times I've died through a wall, man. It is what it is, because you know, when the first time you get hit through a wall by an enemy and you die, you're like, "Oh, that's cheap." But then it's like, "Okay, well, the game ain't gonna have some sense of morality, then neither am I." Forget it, man. I'm not, if that's in the game, then I'm gonna use it too, because the enemy is not gonna is not going to have some honor and be like, all right, well, that's too cheap for me to be able to do. Well, no, because the game developers said it ain't too cheap. So, you know, most of the weapons, it won't work. But the whip, that's one of the weapons that'll attack through walls. So, it's all good, man, by me. And, you know, sure, I could take that guy in a melee. I've got a really good melee weapon, but, you know, I also have a maximum amount of arrows. So, or bolts, I mean. So, it's totally all good, man. And this is something you definitely learn, man. You definitely learn to just counterattack, man. Like, most of the time, it's just better. I'm seeing if I can get this other guy who's behind the ball right there, but yeah, you learn to counterattack, man. You learn to um, wait for them to attack and then you attack, which you might get a little bit impatient as you play the game. You learn and stuff like that, but at the same time, you get a better feel for the game and you get better just in general because picking up those bad habits and stuff, that'll get you killed. Like, first. Anyhow, I go all the way back. I got that jailbreak key. I went through the other side, so I'm like, all right, well, let me go through here because we got to get that bellowing dragon crest ring. And I think it boosts like 20% magic. And it's not just, by the way, with the magic, some of them say, I think this one actually says sorceries, 20% sorceries. But some items will actually buff magic and not sorceries because there's a difference. For instance, if you cast Great Soul Arrow, that is a sorcery that does magic damage, right? If you cast Deep Soul, that is a sorcery that does dark damage. And if you use a crystal infused longsword, that is a weapon attack that pretty much around roughly half of it is going to do magic damage. So if you're using like a magic clutch ring, that almost missed. If you're using like a magic clutch ring, then you'll get that bonus damage. And for those who don't know, there's a lot of mimics in this area, lots of them. But I go through the entire area on, I, I think I do one, maybe I think one life. I don't even rest. So I won't be able to show you both, like the whole area, like the Profane Capital too. But I go through with one life, and it makes it easier because when you come back, you'll have to kill these jailers again, and if they're already dead, you don't have to kill them again. Like, easier. And these dudes, what's interesting is that if you go run over there, there's like a whole clan, bro. Like, you're gonna get in some trouble. I mean, you have to be real good because otherwise you're gonna take a couple hits, and there's only a couple hits and you're dead at soul level 1. So basically, I try to provoke them to come at me, bro. So you gotta get that counter attack. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, all of us, we get a little impatient. We're like, oh, I can get that attack off. Ugh. And I try not to use flasks if possible. That heavy attack. I will say the broadsword does have a pretty interesting move set. The heavy attack allows you to take, actually I think it's like 2 steps forward, which is pretty cool. But I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't used to think this until I did the either the strength or Dex video. One of the, I really took a look at the longsword. While the broadsword does more damage, and I know a lot of people who do SL1 runs, they'll say, you know, run with the broadsword because it's got 10 and 10 for strength and dex requirements. But honestly, the longsword does too, and it only does a little less damage, but it has a, I don't know, the R2, the heavy attack, is a thrusting attack, and that is kind of nice, man. You get that extra reach. It it is a very, very, very good attack. So because of that, actually, I have a deep longsword like, on this playthrough. I have a lot of interesting weapons on this playthrough, actually, and I'd love to share in detail all of them. But if you've been looking, you've probably seen that I have a raw club, a raw mace. I have the Dragon Slayer axe that I can't use yet. I have a Morning Star, and that's raw. All pretty much all the stuff is either raw or it's deep or fire. So that definitely, you get the most amount of damage. And as far as reason why keeping specifically club, mace, Morningstar raw is because they do strike damage, and strike damage is a very particular type of damage that is going to be really useful, particularly against the next couple of bosses that I go against. Dragon Slayer armor and Champion Gundyr, they're more susceptible to strike damage. So that you definitely don't want to split that damage up. You want to keep it and then just buff the weapon. So I bought a whole bunch of lightning resins. I think I even bought some bundles too. The problem with the bundles do more damage, but they don't last as long. So I don't know, man. I bought yeah. So I bought a bunch of resins because the bundles they're good for like one attack. And the problem is when you're fighting a boss, like you don't. I mean, you're gonna take a second to buff your weapon, and then it's only gonna last for, I think it lasts for 7 seconds or 10 seconds or something like that. You don't get an opening. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in trouble, man. You just wasted. Look at the hit model, man. People talk about the hit models and the other Dark Souls games being problematic, dude. Hit model in this one is too. It is also, man, a problem. Not in every enemy, but certainly on these ones. So, here's the thing. In order to progress properly, you have to go down this, see that little doorway on the right over there? You have to go down there. We'll come right back. But in order to make sure that you have, in case something bad happens, in order for you to come back, you want to make sure you have this door open because it doesn't open from the other side. I'm pretty sure it doesn't open from the other side. So usually I come down here and open it, and there's no harm in doing that. You're not gonna mess anything up. Open that up, and then come over here. Now, make sure you have the silver cat ring because that will prevent you from taking fall damage. Alright? And basically I switch it out. Now what's coming is there's going to be some rats. So a good idea against these rats, because sometimes they'll attack you. And if you notice, I do have the grass crest shield, which is probably the best shield that SL1 character can use, because it has, I think it's like 85 or 89% resistance or something like that. It's really high. It's not 100, but basically what that means is that whenever you would take damage, you would take significantly less damage when you block it. So it's just not no damage. It's not 100% physical. Makes it, a lot of people think like, oh, that's not good, but in Dark Souls 1 though, the grass crest ring was 100% physical. And actually, get this, man, the last I played it, I started a new character, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I was playing through, I got the Black Knight Halberd, the Black Knight Sword, and the Black Knight Greatsword. Um, I only played for a handful of hours, you guys. Like, it was crazy, man. Absolutely, absolutely crazy. Matter of fact, the first Black Knight enemy was in the basin. What's the name of that basin? Uh, I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments or whatever. So, anyhow, I saved it and gonna start again. Go ahead and fast forward this stuff. So I'm over here thinking about why is it that I actually saved it right there, and honestly, I can't remember at this current moment. Maybe in a couple moments I'll remember, because basically the only thing that saving does will um, put the enemies back to their spawn locations, put them at full hit points, and technically it'll remove any current buffs that you have on yourself or weapon. Um, but I don't know, maybe I wanted to move those rats back or something. I'm not exactly sure. Um, but either way, using the Evil Eye Ring is a very good idea whenever there's a lot of rats in the area, because they will stun lock you unless you have some really good armor on. So basically what that means is that you're gonna get hit, you know what I'm saying? But if you're killing these, really low level creatures, then you'll be getting 30 hit points every kill, which, my character, I think I only have like 560 hit points with the life ring on. So basically what that means is, like, 30 hit points, that's a lot, all right, compared to how many I actually have in total. Basically, I run around, grab each of the drops, chunks, and a couple. I think there's a pyromancer spell, uh, flame or something like that. Pyromancy flame, I can't remember. But something to keep in mind is that those rats, they will chase you up here. You'll actually see it. I don't remember if it was this clip or another clip, but you see it, man. I run as fast as I can and up that ladder because they are chasing me. I think it's in the next clip, actually. So we won't be able to see it in this episode, but if you do want to see it, let me know in the comments if you want to see um, my SL1 character complete the Profane Capital and Yorm the Giant, the boss in that area, because I have that already recorded right now. Um, but there's just not enough time. It would take another episode. But that being said, um, make sure you always have your undead hunter charms ready, because those guys will eat you, and if they so much as hit you, even not even eating you, if they hit you, that's it, you're dead. That actually happened on this playthrough. I don't know how it happened, man. It was in the Lofted Castle. One of the um, mimic chests are the ones that, like, um, turn around, like almost like dogs, and it turned around, but like I was kind of next to it, and it's almost like a Dark Souls 2 thing. I don't know if you guys ever played Dark Souls 2. Whenever a mimic chest actually, like, because that's how they get too. They'll turn around on their back and they'll almost be like on all fours like a dog. And as soon as that happens, once they're ready to attack, if you're touching them, not that they attack, but if you're touching them, then you automatically get eaten. It's the strangest thing. So I always have to back up, and then once the enemy fully gets, like, out of the transformation from a chest to a monster, then you can attack it. Because if you get real close to it and you start attacking, then it'll automatically eat you without even attacking you. So that's kind of like what happened, actually. It was like, I don't know. It's whatever. You know what I'm saying? The game does it. You know, things happen with these games, and that's why, like I said before, I have no remorse when I attack enemies through walls or when I provoke them with crossbow bolts or arrows. Like, I don't care, man, because they will seemingly to me in initial responses like it's like they cheat, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't cheating. That's part of the game, you know. You just have to learn the mechanics of the game and then operate within the confines of those mechanics. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. But it does feel cheap the first time you die to those things, you know? But it is what you could probably consider these things cheap. These basilisks. So, and that's coming. So basically you got two chests. And for those who don't know, a real easy way, I think I've said it before, but a real easy way you can tell whether or not it's a mimic chest is you can hear it, one, and you can see it, how it's moving, it's breathing. It'll open and close its mouth. See, that's basically, if I waited a second longer, I would have been toast. And sometimes they can drop a symbol of Alvarez, you know, which is kind of cool. I think maybe one of them does, I don't know. But there's 5 in this whole area. It's pretty crazy. Now, as soon as you open up this box, that's when the basilisk will all shoot out from the ceiling. Need that too. That's the key that opens up Sigward's. It's not the Onion Knight's cell. So that curse stuff, man. You die to that, you'll feel like that's pretty cheap because it doesn't do any damage. It just does curse damage. And if your curse buildup is all the way, you die. Instantly. Doesn't matter if you're full health, you're dead. So. But yeah, man, I go through and kill everything. I don't even care. I know a lot of you guys out there be like, man, you going through this, like, taking forever on this SL1 run. That's because I'm going through it all. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting everything. That's just how I roll. I can't go through it and not. Like, it's difficult, very difficult for me to, like, I don't think I'd ever be able to be a speedrunner, is what I'm saying. You know? It's just, I don't know. But, I don't know if you noticed, like, I had changed from one-handing to two-handing the broadsword, and I know a lot of you guys are like, well, that doesn't do any really extra damage when you have it fire infused or dark infused. It doesn't, but what it does do, more vertical swipes. So you can actually attack those frogs in the, not frogs, the basilisk in the air. So basically, there's 2 of these giant rats. Now, one of the giant rats is not difficult to defeat, and but you have 2 of them, and they're attacking like separately. You know, they concert their attacks. Then one will be attacking while the other one's not, and then as soon as one's done with the attack, then the other one attacks. So if you're in that type of situation, there's like little that you can do. You know, there's little that you can do. So yeah, man, I try to do what I can to like not use flasks. When I got into Profane Capital, if you see it, then you'll see some changes. But you know, I try to whenever I can. Just the shield and the chime. And for those of you who are wondering, like, how am I able to use the chime? Maybe I didn't. I don't think I said anything. The priest chime you can use with a 10 faith. You can use a priest chime with 10 faith. So that gentle repose, you can do that with 10 faith. And that's a starting level character. That's a soul level 1. So it's no problem. This is something that I think a lot of people don't really, I don't know, maybe people don't know or people don't do. I don't know. But me, personally, I do. But that's, I don't know, that's the tip of the day right there, you guys. Now, these jailers aggro as soon as they see you, but they're nearsighted or they're farsighted or whatever. So they can see. They can see. I don't know, whatever that is. They can see up close. Far away, they can't see nothing. I don't know. Well, you tell me, what is that? I think that means that they're farsighted. I don't know. You tell me. I've never understood that. Especially, it's kind of strange because I wear glasses. All I know is I wear glasses because I can't see anything far away. But I can see up close. Especially in my elder years. You guys might not even know how old I am. Old enough to where people my age are wearing glasses. Or reading glasses. Yeah. That. And then this right here is 1/3 of the dragon stones. So I think that was the torso. Now I will be getting all of them. But we have to come back in order to get the rest. No, I take it back. I think we get one more. I can't remember. All I know is I know how to get all three. I just don't remember exactly where they are. One of them is in the dragon, um, archdragon peaks. But you get all three, and you could put them all on it. It'll change you into like, oh, you look like kind of like a kind of cool. Me personally, I ain't into that, but it is something to use for, goodness, what's his name's quest line? The guy at Firelink that gives you the Hemi gem. Uh, but it's part of his quest line. He is also someone you can summon for the boss fight against Osiris. But yeah, you have to fight against him actually. Now this is something that I never used to do, but use this pillar right here as like a way to dodge around them. Because if you go, I imagine a lot of you guys just run over there and kill these guys or girls or whatever they are, the jailers. And I used to wait right there outside that door, but I think this is much better because they might not know that you're behind that pillar. They might know you're behind the pillar, but either way, it works to your advantage because you can do what I'm doing right here. Nice sneak attack. Last time, kind of go around it, you know, but a lot of things you can do. Just keep in mind that if you're too close to another one and you attack them, then they'll all aggro on you. When that happens, like I said before, if they see you, two things could happen. They could charge you, which is the better thing, or they could instantly reduce your max hit points, which is really not good. Now, what I did right there was separate them, because if you shoot an arrow at the wall, then they'll aggro against the wall. Alright, so now the one is further away from the other two. So that's like what you want. You want to keep them separate. You don't want, if they're together, you're dead for sure. 100,000%. At SL1, you're a goner. So now uh-oh. Now if he was looking at me, oh, see, he charged. Or she, or they. Oh, you gotta go around. Oh, see, that dude could attack. One time, this is what I did. I got one of those, I think a soldering iron or smoldering iron or something like that. I got one of the irons, and then I actually gave it to. I actually had my son play on his account. I gave it to my son, and then I played on a different account and gave it back to myself as like really low level, first level character, and to see like how it would feel against like other unupgraded weapons and stuff as a first level character. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The problem is it's kind of like a torch, where you know how like a torch doesn't really upgrade very well. It's kind of like that. Like it doesn't scale very well. So, it is what it is. But it definitely is an interesting weapon. That's for sure. Now, here's another mimic chest. I think in total there's 5. And because I didn't rest at all, I end up using all 5 of my on-hand undead hunter charms. Because I used one against each of them. And for each one, basically I get a handful of attacks off first. And then, I think 3. And then use the charm. Then get the item, which, because sometimes you might get a symbol of Alvarez on top of whatever's in there. Then I attack him again. Now, when you attack him again, it actually gives you another chance for it to unlock a symbol of Alvarez. So, there's that. Now, here's a couple items. I think it's some kind of, yeah, the ashes, and then the crown of dust crown ring, which, by the way, was a really cool item. The crown of dusk, I think it was, in Dark Souls 1. Really cool. Now, last thing that we need in this area is the profaned bowl, actually. Which, like, if you're going for, if you have any points into faith, intelligence, or definitely both, then the profane coal is going to allow you to use dark gems in your weapons, which, especially if you're a pyromancer, that is really, 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 really good, because up to this point, you don't really have a whole lot of very good options for scalable weapons. So you most likely are relying on fire and deep, which don't scale at all. It only has base scaling, split damage. But when you get the dark gem, or the profane coal, then you can use the dark gem to upgrade. And actually, I think the profane coal allows you to different kind of upgrade. I can't remember what it was. Hollowing? I can't remember. Here's where a whip would be nice, obviously. But yeah, in Elden Ring, I don't know if I showed you guys this in one of my Elden Ring videos. You can shoot through the bars. Elden Ring. I guess not in this. And what's interesting is I thought that there was, like, I didn't realize there was one more. Like, and by the way, those guys can cast range attacks on you, so keep in mind. Yeah, I thought it was just this one. And I go in there to get the profane coal, and I think there was another one in there. I see, here's that thing again, hitting the wall. But, there it is. See? I was like, oh, I didn't realize there was a dude there. Got an implement, so you gotta be careful. I think I could definitely make a bow only run happen. Honestly, get myself like a short bow or a Ferris bow or something. I could make that happen, I think. It'd be costly though. I mean, honestly, like how much money, how much souls that I've spent on things is unbelievable. I haven't lost any souls, but I mean, look at how many souls I have. It's after everything that I've done so far. It's unbelievable. And I've even farmed a little bit. So that's buying armors, buying weapons, upgrading weapons, buying ammunition, buying consumable items. Like, I did not expect to be spending so many souls on these type of items. It is totally, totally unbelievable. So, here's the deal. this a gargoyle, and I'm making a decision. All right, am I gonna try to make a break for it, or am I gonna go toe to toe with this gargoyle? Because I know, like, gargoyles are tough. They are tough. And I was like, eventually, I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna have to defeat this gargoyle. Like, there's just no way around it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just gotta be good about it. You know? Now, what's cool is that I actually know the gargoyle moveset pretty decent. Okay? This is the main thing you gotta watch out for, because if you attack when they're doing this, you're gonna get slapped. You gotta be very careful. And when they're done, they're gonna attack. Usually when they're done blocking, they'll attack. You just gotta be patient. There it is. Yeah, I didn't think about it. And sometimes, see, I should have healed actually, but that's okay. I should have healed though. When you get an opening and you're lower health, you should heal. You know? But what's interesting in Elden Ring, when you kill a group of enemies, usually you'll get your flask back. But in Dark Souls, it's not how it is. You just randomly will get flasks back. It's strange, but it's random. It's sometimes you'll kill an enemy and it's okay, now you get the flask back. Sometimes you'll kill 20 enemies and not get any flasks back. So, but that pretty much does it. That's where I'm going to end it right here, you guys. That is the Profane Capital. That's going to be for the next episode. Thanks for watching. Stay cool, and bye, everyone.